What's up, everyone? This is Matt Rosick, and this will be a review of the 1/4 scale Scarlett Witch kit version from Alpha 3 in Mark Dmello. And holy shit. I didn't do an unboxing part because I would have taken an hour right there just to unbox this sucker. As you can see, this thing has a lot of parts. What's impressive is that they were able to do this in a kit version because it's pretty damn complex. And I tell you what, it took me roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours just to figure out where everything went. And I'll explain that here in a minute. But overall, for how complicated of a kit this is, it's excellent. I'll go through and I'm going to try to assemble it for you on camera if I remember how it goes back together. It does come with instructions, but that's for the pre-painted version. In the pre-painted version, some things are pre-assembled already, and I'll explain that to you in a second. So come around here on this side. And kind of starting over here, we have, these are all the parts for the arms, including this piece right here. Torso, the boots, the two heads. These are all the clear flame parts for the base. These are all the kind of wrecked pieces that go on the base. There's a little bag of parts here that consists of some like pistons and stuff and some jewelry that goes on her, but I'm not going to take that out of the bag just because I don't want to lose them. And I think this is either a battery or LED. I'm not sure. This looks like a type of battery, but I'm not sure there's a light in there either. So, and I have a question about this. So let's go over the quality. Really, really done well. Mark puts out a really good product, on par with some of the better guys out there. So, props to the quality of this. My only one crit, and this is my crit mostly with most kits that I get, is that the factory over cleaned some of the seams, and it's mostly on the clear parts. They were pretty aggressive with the grinder, so I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue, to be honest, because once you hit this with a clear coat, if you don't know, to get clear resin, crystal clear, you basically clear coat it and it turns it into glass. So basically what I'm going to do is when I paint this, I'll just hit it with some automotive clear and see what it looks like. My initial guess is that with the clear I use, all that grinding will go away, but that's really my only crit. What you get in the kit is all of this. You get a really nice art print right here. So you get based from the artwork. And then you do get a set of instructions. And like I said, the instructions are great if you have the pre-painted version. So that gives you a diagram with parts that are numbered. I'm not sure if the parts are numbered in the pre-paint version, like if you have a part and it's numbered. This was packed so well, it took me about an hour and a half to unpack it. Every little piece of fire was packed in bubble wrap and tapes. The most impressive part were actually the bus, and I'll talk about that in a second. But everything's numbered, where it goes on the base. Same thing with the portraits and stuff, and on the back here as far as like these other effects. So you really need to follow these when you're putting this together. And it did help a little bit in trying to figure this out, but I had to go back and look at really close-up pictures of the production piece. So for the most part, you know, it's not a huge piece. It's actually it's a good size. You know, a lot of guys want huge pieces, and other guys want pieces that fit on their shelves. So this is actually a perfect size. Width-wise, you're only looking at about 14 inches. In depth, you're looking at about 11 and a half. I haven't measured height yet because I really haven't put her together all the way. But the most complicated part really is the base and the arms. The base you kind of have to put together in a certain order, and that took me forever to figure out. It took me a long time to figure out where all the little pieces go, mostly on the arms, and I'll explain that here in a second too. I did break one little piece, and this was myself. I was trying to put this big piece in, and it wraps around this rock, and it wasn't fitting quite right, so I pushed it down, and this little piece snapped off, so that's my fault. Basically, what I should have done, instead of trying to force it, I should just ground a little bit of resin here or a little bit off the rock and it would have been fine. So that's my fault. Like I said, the packing was excellent, and surprisingly, and this is props to the factory for the packing, I had one little piece break, and it's the one place I would expect it. I had one little strand of hair break right here. And to be honest, I'm surprised that that's all that's broke. just because of the complexity of this piece. And it's crazy. I mean, look at all these little strands of hair. They'd actually gone in, they put little pieces of foam between each curl and each strand, and then wrapped it really, really well in bubble wrap. So same thing on this bust. There's a piece of foam between each little curl, foam wrapped around each little curl. So when you picked it up, it felt solid. Like I didn't even know it was a head until I started unwrapping it, because it was basically like this big, and like the shape of like a square loaf of bread. It was so well padded. So casting is excellent on this. The body's done really, really well. Great shape. Can see where they kind of went in after they primed and did a little cleanup on her. No biggie. You know, hit that with some primer. So that looks really good. The boots are done extremely well. Nice texture in the boots. And I can't tell if this is part of the sculpt or from the factory cleaning up, but there's a little something in the boot there, which is no big deal. I can recreate that texture. It looks like it's from the factory where they want to try to clean up, and again, they went a little heavy on the cleanup. So sometimes they just are too aggressive when they're cleaning up the seams. So that's, again, that's like my only crit with kits. If you're going to clean the seams up, don't overdo it. Don't get rid of detail. Leave a little bit of seam there for the kit builder or the painter to take care of, but don't kill the detail in the piece. And like I said, with the flames, that's the only part where I kind of think they went really, really heavy with the cleaning. But again, these should clear up really well with some clear coat. The material, so nice weight to her, nice and hefty. This is resin. The flames, I was really, really worried about how fragile they were, but whatever this is, this material, it's got some really nice flex to it. It's not brittle at all, especially when I was trying to figure out the pieces on the arms. They actually kind of, I don't say they're vinyl, because they're not, but it's a softer material. So I don't know if it's a type of resin that has some flex to it, or some sort of plastic, but it's actually really nice. You know, I don't feel like I'm going to break anything while trying to fit it. So let's get to putting this thing together. And let's see if I can remember how to do this. There is a, oh, and by the way, this thing actually begs and really wouldn't be too difficult to light. There's so much cool like fire effects going on the base that you could, anyone with basic electronic skills, including me, which I'm not very good at electronics, you could easily, with some time, basically drill some holes where all the flame pieces go. And if and when I build this piece, these will all be, the base will be one solid piece. Everything will be glued on. I won't be able to be taken apart. But you could easily drill holes where the fire goes. You could come in here with a Dremel or a routing tool and make channels for the wires and stuff, and easily make this, and just have a plug coming out the back, you know, with a socket. And then you could just put something over all your, you know, a nice, just a piece of plastic, something that you could take off easily if you had to get to the electronics. Because it does come with a sticker. I don't have, it's over here. It's a sticker with the, you know, sculpted by the way, this is sculpted by Avi. Sculpted by Avi, Alpha 3, Scarlett, you know, Scarlett Witch. Now, mine wasn't numbered. It just said, just has a blank space, so I'm not sure what number I have. But you could easily, I mean, it would take a little work, but you could light this pretty easily. I'm saying that easily now, but you never know. All right, so putting this thing together. Let's see if I can remember how this thing goes. This is, I can remember which one's the front. I think, if I remember correctly, this is the front. I could be wrong on that. So what took forever was not only finding out where the pieces go, because they are, like I said, the instructions are numbered to a point, but they're really more for their pre-painted piece. And to you guys who have the pre-painted piece, props to you, because to have this painted, I would charge a lot. It's a very complex piece. Even though the quality is there, it would be a lot of work. Just to give you an idea, if someone asked me to paint this, it would be $800 to $1,000 easily, just because of the amount of pieces and the complexity of it. That's what I would charge. So anyone who's interested in having me paint this thing, that's what I would charge, just FYI. I'm sure there are guys out there who do it a lot cheaper, but that's what I feel the paint job would be worth. So some of these fire pieces you have to put in first, and some you have to kind of do as you go along. And part of the trick is this pipe that kind of goes along the scene, and the fire kind of wraps around this pipe in ways. It also wraps around this piece. So that's what's really cool, is the fire is intertwined with all this wreckage. So it gives it a really cool effect. So if I remember correctly, this big piece goes in first, like this. And the fit on this is all very, for the most part, really, really good. I think with a little bit of extra work, a little bit of grinding here and there, like this is a little loose, I would go in there and make that fit a little better, especially if I was going to light this, just so there wouldn't be any light leaks around the edges. That's just what I would do. And then I think you have to put this pipe in next, which goes here. Let me get this on a turntable. I actually have that ready. So that pipe goes there. Oh, I already messed up. This little piece here, this is really hard to figure out. The shape is there, but it has to go in at a very specific angle for it to fit in here. Let's see. It goes in. Again, even though I know it goes there, it's not that easy. Okay, there we go. It will go in there. Come on. There it goes. So that goes in there. I got to put this in next, because this fire actually goes underneath this pipe a little bit, and then this can go in like that. And there's another little piece of fire that goes in. That's not it. I think it's this guy. Yeah, this guy. And you can tell by the bottom of the shape, they actually have everything shaped like keyed. You know, they only fit in one spot. There's a little piece of fire that comes in here, coming to these rocks, so that's a cool effect. And then this piece of fire comes in here. This isn't affected by anything else, so there's no specific order to that. And then this little piece of fire comes in here, like that. This little piece of fire comes in here. The tricky part is when you're dealing with this and these pieces, because the fire kind of intertwines there a little bit. Then you can put this big piece in. That's the part that I broke, because I tried to force it in there, and I shouldn't have done that. And then we got these cool pieces of like wrecked claws, and they do only fit one specific way. And these are nice because these this one comes over here. The way they work, it just, everything kind of molds to each other. It's done really, really well. It's a cool sculpt. Nice job by Avi. And this guy comes in over here. And then this piece comes in here. So we're still just working on the base. And let's see, there's one more piece of fire there, I think. Where'd that go? Wonder if I knocked it on the floor somewhere. I don't know. I have to, oh no, it's not fire. It's this stupid pipe, because I'm stupid. There we go. That goes there. So that, for the most part, is the base. So the base is awesome, man. I love it. It tells a story right away. You know, there's wrecked fire everywhere. Like I said, with these fires lit, with these pieces of fire lit, man, it'd be really, really slick. Oh, there's supposed to be some piece of fire there. Looks like I'm supposed to have a piece of fire there too. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, this little guy. I think this one goes there. Let's see. Yeah, another one little right there. See, even though I've taken this apart and put it together several times, so I would remember how it goes. I still forgot. Okay, so now we can kind of start putting her together, and I'll go through what some of my little, not critiques, but little things to look out for if you have the kit version. Those go in. The fit of this is excellent. She fits right in there. I'm going to go back, look behind my camera, make sure I'm still in frame. I think I'm still tall enough, frame-wise. Oh yeah, we're good. So I'm going to start recording my reviews on my phone again, just because it doesn't distort and I can get in closer. There's one question I have about one of the heads. Now, in one of the pictures, it looks like her eyes light up, and it would be this portrait right here. And in the instructions on the pre-paint, there's actually a little instruction that says the light goes in her head right there. Well, my eyes are solid. They're not clear. So there's a place for a light, but there's nowhere for the light to shine through. So I sent a message to Mark. He hasn't replied because he's on the other side of the world. He's probably asleep. I'm wondering if those eyes are supposed to be clear or not, or what the plan is. Or are they clear and they've just been primed over? I don't know. I can go in there with a little bit of thinner and find out if they're clear. They do have, looks like they sculpted irises, which I love that because, again, I always tell people I suck at painting eyes. Actually, I'm going to see real quick. Let me get a little thinner. I think I have some over here. I wonder if alcohol will take it off. I'm not sure. I'm going to see real quick if those are clear. Because they may have just primed over it since it's the kit version. So let's see. I think alcohol will take this off. Let's find out real quick. No, let's get some lacquer thinner. Oh, I got some lacquer thinner right here. Hold on. Good thing I've got this nice long cord on my microphone. Just, nope, that's not lacquer thinner. That's lacquer thinner. I got some of these bottles with, usually they're labeled, but after a while the labels kind of disappear. I got some other. All right, let's see. Let's see these. Oh wait, huh? Aha! They are clear. So my guess is you know what? And I'm just looking at where the hair broke off. This whole head has been casted in clear. So right there, the head was casted in clear. And you just put the light there and they light up. Cool. So I'm glad I figured that out. And I figured it on camera. I'm curious to know if, I don't know if the whole kit was cast in clear. This head was. I don't know if this head was. I can't tell. I'm not sure. But anyway, so yes. So the eyes do light up. There's a place for a light in there. And there's a little piece of hair. And it looks like it's got 2 magnets on them. But they're not very strong. Like I don't feel them wanting to hold down in place. But I think as long as you don't sit there and you're playing with their head, it's fine. I think you put the head on, put this piece of hair in. And the hair in general needs a little bit of work for fitting wise. It just needs a little fitting help here and there. Now the heads are a really tight fit. At least this one is. I'm actually going to take her off the stand again real quick. I'm going to take this off too so I don't drop the head and break hair everywhere. So this head with the light up eyes, I put it on. The magnets are nice and strong. You can feel it suck it down. It's a tight fit. So what I'm going to have to do is, and you know, one thing about doing a switch out head on a portrait or a figure where there's no clothing, there's going to be a seam. There's nothing you can do about that. So you have one of 2 options. You can do your best to hide the seam and make it minimal, or you just pick one of the heads, you glue it on, you seam it, and you're done. This kit's really cool. I don't think I'd want to do that. I think by the time you're all done, this kit's so complicated and it's got so much going on. I don't think your eye's going to be really drawn to a seam on the neckline. So, so right now it's pretty obvious, you know, but I think with a little extra time, a little extra putty work, you can really minimize that and just make it as small as possible. You know, they always try to do right at the jawline, right up to the back of the ear, which is what they did. And that's all you can do on this stuff. But this has a tight fit, and when I put it on there, it's like, it almost doesn't want to come off. This one is a much, it fits on there perfectly. The seam is actually a little more minimized, so there just may be more primer on this, which makes it a tighter fit. But again, I think that seam there is really not that big of a deal, and I think once you get all the hair on and everything, you know, I don't think you're going to notice it. Maybe someone who's got the pre-paint can, and you're watching this, you can kind of chime in and tell me your thoughts on that scene, and if does it annoy you, does it bother you? I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest, especially with the piece like this that's got so much going on that your eyes gonna be looking all everywhere. So again, that one's got the light up eyes. I'm just gonna leave that to the side here because that one's harder to get on. Here's the other portrait. And now this one has a bunch of extra little pieces of hair that they molded separately, and I totally understand why. Because it's like it's coming over her face. Like there's a piece of strand that comes down, and it all fits actually pretty well. It only fits in one spot. I say that now and I can't find a spot. My back's starting to hurt me, sorry. I have a bad back, in case you didn't know. I had back surgery a few years ago, so where does this one go? I can't find it right now. Anyway, He's only fitting in one spot. This one goes there. This little one comes down here between your eyes. Sorry guys, it's not the best view. I know my back's killing me. Then we have this piece, and again, they fit in a very specific spot. And these little pieces of hair need just a little bit of work for the fitting. And oh, okay, here we go. Nope, that doesn't go there. There's another little strand somewhere. There it is. And that fits. I'll show it to you once I get everything in. I think I have two of the same piece. That's what it is. That's why that extra. So when you're done, you have this. Once you get all those pieces in, and again, it needs a little work on the fitting. I think what I would do on this, just to make the seams go away completely, what I would do is I would go ahead and glue the hair in place, even though the masking would be you just have to hand paint the hair later. I'll glue the hair in place, get rid of all the seams and everything, and then I would do the portrait, and then I would just hand paint the hair just to make sure that all those seams have gone away, because right now it just looks like hair is like just coming out of her face. So that's what I would do. So that's part of that kind of work I was talking about on this kit. Oh, what I absolutely love is the way the cape works. They're really smart. It doesn't peg in. It doesn't, there's no keys. But what it is because they have it so it just basically, there's two little, like, I don't want to say they're pegs, but it just sits in there and it just rests on her. It doesn't peg in. It's not keyed. Any cape that I've had so far that keys in, you're just going to scratch paint up. The Thor is a good example. It's awesome. That's what got me on the kids, the cape. But getting it in and out, I don't care who you are, you're going to scrape paint. It's going to rub off, especially on the keys. And if you're someone hiring a custom paint builder, there's nothing they can do about that. I think like Sideshow and stuff like that, they can use like really toxic paint in Asia. They're probably using a lead-based paint that is much tougher even than a lacquer or an enamel. So I think the rubbing issue is not quite as pronounced on those pieces, but it just basically rests on there. So when you're switching out the portrait, you're not having to like pry this thing on and off. You will have a little bit of rubbing just from you taking it on and off. Probably right where it touches the top of the breast and right here, because they designed it so it rests right against her calf. They didn't try to get it to flow out in the middle of air. It's designed to rest on her calf. Again, the Thor I have, when I first put the cape on, there's about an inch gap between the cape and its back leg. Well, now the cape sits on its leg. It's just sagged over time. That's just how it is. It's the weight. And then let's put this portrait on. So you do have to take the portraits on and off to switch out the cape. I guess you could try, but no. Your best bet is to take the heads on and off to switch out the cape. So there's that. She does have some little jewelry that goes right here on her neckline. It's in that little bag right here. This portrait also has her, I guess you'd call it her crown or her crest. It won't sit on there unless you have those little pieces of hair in there. But it does just kind of rest in there. So it'll go in there somehow. Right in the way, but it'll fit in there like this somehow. And this needs a little bit of cleanup. The seam work isn't so great on that piece, but it's easy. Okay, so now the real complicated part of the kit. So one part that makes this kit time consuming to build and paint is this piece right here. It's cast in clear. And the only way to do this piece is to cast it in clear, simply because it's her arm wrapped in flames. To try to cast her arm solid and then try to kind of do what they did over here with the other pieces, which I'll show you, cast all those other pieces in clear and have them attach, would be really impractical, and you wouldn't get the same cool effect. So that's a lot of tedious masking to take care of that. Basically, you have to paint you have to mask paint the flames first, and then mask them, and then paint the arm. Because if you try to paint the arm solid first, you'll just get paint all over the flames, and then you'd have to try to clean all that paint off, which would be impossible to get all those little details. So to paint the flames, mask the flames, and then paint the arm. So that piece right there, that's like, the masking alone would take me 2 hours, maybe, just on that one piece. Maybe faster for others, but that's what it would take me to mask all around those flames. So that's a tedious piece right there. It does fit in here pretty good. So it comes in here like this. Mine has the slightest bit of a gap right there, which is an easy fix with some putty. I showed that on the Hellboys I've been doing with the gloves. You just kind of put some Bondo in the glove. And all right, sorry about that. My battery ran out and I didn't realize it. So I was recording and I didn't realize I wasn't recording audio. So anyway, I was talking about this piece, about the masking and the fit here. It's a pretty good fit. I got a little bit of a gap right here, which I can take care of with some putty, no biggie. I think after this I was going through and explaining these pieces, which are really the most complicated. As far as, it took me a while to figure out how these go together, because some of the pieces fit almost exactly the same in other holes. Looks like this hand has two of these pieces of flame that kind of wrap around her hands. This one goes here. This one comes in like this, and they fit very specifically, I figured out. And when you get them in the right spot, they fit perfectly. And then this guy comes in and pegs on the side of, let's see, where is it? Oh, over here. I could be wrong, but I think the pre-paints, all these pieces of flame are already attached to the hand. I could be wrong, but I think that's how that comes. And then, and I have someone that wants me to repaint one of these, and that's a lot of masking to get around that hand. And then this comes in here and pegs in the side of this piece of flame right in there. Right, excuse me, right in there. And then once that's pegged in, get this cool effect of her doing her thing towards you, just like that. It won't stand. It'll fall off as soon as I let go because nothing's glued. But again, these pieces of clear, it's got some flex to it. It almost feels like a plastic of some sort, which is fine because then less chance of it breaking. But that's kind of how that looks in that hand. Really cool effect. Take that one off. And then the last hand, which I have pegged in here, I'll take it out real quick. These arms fit perfectly. There's no gap or anything on these, by the way. This has three little separate pieces of fire. The trickiest one is this guy. It fits in the crook of her, right here between her thumb and her hand. It fits in there kind of a weird angle. It took me a while to figure that one out. Again, once it's all done, these will be like glued on. So, and then this comes in like this. And then this is the big one where the other little kind of effect piece plugs into. It's hard to find the peg because with it all being clear, it's hard to see. And that comes in like, oops, oh, that fell on the ground. I'll pick it up in a second. But it didn't break. That goes in like that. And then this little other effect piece comes in the side over here, like so, and that pegs in nicely. And then of course, once that's all pegged in, you got this effect. So yeah, just like that. So yeah, overall really nice job. Like I said, I was saying before, I didn't realize I wasn't recording, but nice job by Avi on the sculpt. Props to Alpha 3 for being able to make this a kit. It's a complicated piece. Anyone who has the pre-paints, they look really good from what I've seen. I have one guy who's interested in me doing a repaint. I don't know if I want to take that on, to be honest. It'd be a difficult repaint. I think he just wants her repaint. I think the base thinks it's fine, but anyway, yeah, it's a cool piece. You know, it's like, I like it. She's not huge. She's a good size for a female character. The base is awesome. Lots of detail. It tells a story. Like I said, with some work, you could light the base up and make the fire light up and stuff. I think that'd be a really cool effect. I did figure out that the eyes are clear. This whole head is clear, actually, so the eyes do light up. I'm not sure if these are just batteries or if these are lights. Let me see if I'm gonna open this up just real quick. I'm not sure what this is. I've seen these little things. They look like batteries, but I'm not sure there's a light in here too. Let's find out real quick since we're here. I got a blade. Let's see what these things are. These little silver things, I've seen these before. It's a type of battery, like a cylindrical battery. It's actually kind of cool. And I'm not sure what this is. Is that a light? Yeah, so there you go. So let me see if I can get the eyes lit up real quick. Let me get some more thinner real quick, and we'll see if we can't get these lights to light up a little bit. I was going to call this review done, but since I got those working, just got to get the primer off the clear resin. It's a good primer. It doesn't want to come off right away. And I'm using lacquer thinner. There we go. There's a few little spots on the primer that need a little sanding here and there. I yet to, again, really see a kit that's just ready to paint straight out of the box. I'm gonna try to do another review tonight. I got actually quite a few kits I need to review, but another one that just came in that's really cool. It's getting late though. Again, I didn't work on the Hellboys tonight. It's my son's birthday tomorrow, so we went out to dinner tonight and did all sorts of cool family stuff. So everyone's in bed now, so I can do one of these. Anyway, come on. Okay, well, they're not completely clean, but I think we'll get the idea. So this goes in like that. I think this little device is what, it's kind of like, it's like a little tool to get it in and out. It's kind of cool. So let me turn this light off real quick. And turn this light off. Oh yeah, you can see the light coming through all the hair and stuff. So yeah, the head's clear. So it's got this little interesting tool here. So you take this out. Basically, this holds the battery. I guess the trick would be finding replacement batteries. So the light just kind of falls in there like that. And if you want to get it out, use this little rubber tool to grab it, or a pair of tweezers. So cool. So that's it. That's the Scarlett Witch by Alpha 3 kit version. Like I said, cool piece. Congrats to anyone who got one, and looking forward to the Deadpool when it comes in to review that for you guys too. So as always, thanks for watching. It's Matt Morozic. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.